At San Jose State University,
we discover who we want to be. For ourselves,
for our families,
for our communities.
Different and unexpected.
Begin here.
At the heart of a transforming valley, in a city that is tough and beautiful.
We are Spartans.
The U.S. is setting new records with the coronavirus.
We cannot afford to debate this issue any longer.
It's just not safe.
We need to hang on, double down, do the kind of
As COVID-19 infections continue to rise across the country.
Every minute of my life right now is devoted to trying to end this pandemic.
Have nearly doubled since
today. There is reason to hope. Dr. Anthony Fauci says the cavalry is coming.
And I want to thank you for being everything that we want a doctor to be, especially in these difficult circumstances. Every doctor knows that sometimes the best approach to treating a patient involves telling them something that they don't want to hear. Now, this is always going to be a difficult conversation, but even more so when you're dealing with an entire country, you're dealing with a new and deadly illness and a population that's shocked and confused about the best way to fight that illness.
I think we're facing a whole lot of trouble.
You've had to be the bearer of bad news to more people than possibly anyone in human history, but you stayed the course. You've given it to us straight, regardless of the potential backlash. So for everything you've done, thank you.
The COVID-19 pandemic has been a very hard situation for us as a society. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of tension on what to do. But one constant has always been Dr. Anthony Fauci.
My husband and I have 2 children. They're twins and they're seniors in college. Before we sent them off to school this year, we of course had a discussion with them, giving them advice. And the most important advice we gave them this year comes from you, Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci, when you eat in a restaurant, we'll eat in a restaurant. When you fly in an airplane, we'll fly in an airplane. When you get the COVID vaccine, we will get the COVID vaccine.
Dr. Fauci, thank you so much for everything you do for the well-being and the health of every single person that lives in the United States of North America. Muito obrigado, Dr. Fauci. Muito obrigado. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much.
Congratulations on receiving this year's prestigious Hearst Award from the San Jose State University School of Journalism and Mass Media. I can't think of a more deserving professional to receive this year's honor. You have literally guided our country, as you have for many, many decades of national service with the National Institutes of Health, through an unprecedented crisis. And in particular, you provided sound counsel to companies such as ours and to businesses across the private sector to help keep our people safe and our operations running. And for that, I will always be grateful.
reporter at KPIX5. We share the same values of truth, driven by science and data. Thank you for all you've done for keeping our nation safe for decades, and congratulations on your award tonight.
Thank you and congratulations to Dr. Anthony Fauci for being this year's recipient of the Hearst Award. Your years of knowledge and the way that you use your wisdom and expertise to help guide America through this pandemic is the reason why I choose to trust your voice. Thank you for all that you've done and all you continue to do for us.
I would like to say to Dr. Fauci how much every time I saw him, he was an inspiration. I started out thinking that he was merely a tough little guy who was hanging in there and making his way. But the more I saw of him, the more courageous he got, the tougher he got, the way he stood his ground, so much that I came to believe that he in fact was the tallest man in that entire administration. I would like to thank you and congratulate you on your award as a Hearst winner. Thank you.
You are getting an award that carries the name of William Randolph Hearst. You know, in journalism, honesty and integrity are the cornerstones of what we do. And that's what you have brought to this nation throughout this pandemic, honesty and integrity. When we go to the doctor's office, you want the doctor to be honest with you and tell you what your ailments are, what the prognosis is, and what you need to do to get better. That's exactly, again, what you have done for this nation. You are an American treasure. You're an American patriot.
I can't stress enough how valuable your contribution has been, your leadership, your guidance, sticking with the facts, even when you don't know them. Thank you so much for what you've done and what you continue to do for us all.
Deep gratitude for the great amount of hard work that you have done to lead us through this incredible pandemic. You have served as a keen role model for all of us in the health professions. Thank you.
Thank you for being a prominent voice of reason this year in the media. Truth-seeking is essential in journalism. Myself, as well as my classmates, are very grateful to have you as a source of timely and accurate science communication during the COVID-19 pandemic.
I admire your intelligence, I admire your leadership and your logic, but most of all, I admire your honesty throughout this entire pandemic that we're all facing. My children, ages 15 and 12, consider you their American hero. Thank you so much for keeping them safe and healthy. Congratulations on this award.
Good evening, I'm Dan Rather. And first of all, I want to thank the Hearst Foundation and the San Jose State University School of Journalism for the privilege of taking part in this ceremony to honor the great Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci, congratulations. Your dedication, your unrelenting hard work, all during the COVID-19 pandemic, your courage and your absolute dedication to making sure that the American people got the information they needed, often amidst controversy and unpleasantness, will go down in the history of this period of our country. You are, and rightfully so, a legend in your own time. On behalf of myself and my family, and I think I can say so on behalf of a grateful nation, thank you, Dr. Fauci.
Congratulations, Dr. Fauci.
Congratulations.
Voices across America coming together with gratitude. Live from the virtual campus of San Jose State University in the heart of Silicon Valley, welcome to this time-honored celebration of the First Amendment rights of we the people and the free press in the United States. And we want to thank all of you for joining us for this very special occasion. This is the 2020 William Randolph Hearst Foundation Award ceremony by the School of Journalism and Mass Communications. I'm your host, journalism professor Bob Rucker, former school director and former CNN correspondent in San Francisco, where I first met Dr. Fauci many moons ago. Along with our current director, Dr. Phyllis West, and our colleagues, as well as all of our students, we are thrilled now to say those words. The man of the hour is here. Congratulations and welcome, Dr. Fauci.
Thank you, Professor Rucker, for that very kind introduction, and warm greetings to you all. It gives me great pleasure to join you virtually today at San Jose State. It is an extraordinary honor to be chosen by the faculty of the School of Journalism and Mass Communications to receive this William Randolph Hearst Award. And I thank you so much for this recognition. Knowing that great communicators have received this award before me, people I have long respected, such as Dan Rather and Jim Acosta, makes this day extra special to me. And to be honored by your great JMC school and to now be a small part of your long legacy of excellence is very meaningful to me. As you know, unlike Dan and Jim and your previous awardees, I am not a journalist or a communications specialist, but a physician scientist and a public health official. These are two very different career paths that have some common features. First, in my business, as in yours, you are never quite done. There is always more to learn and more questions to ask. Whether you are assessing a patient, conducting a lab experiment, meeting with public health leaders, or reading up to prepare for a media appearance. There are always more angles to cover and more follow-up questions. In our respective professions, we often have a subliminal feeling of unfinished business. This feeling, however, is not necessarily a negative, since it can be transformed into something productive and positive by spurring us to further action. It is always humbling and anxiety-causing to realize that you will never know as much as you want to or need to know. After all these years, this remains true for me as a physician and a scientist, and as a public health official, since the consequences of getting something wrong and not being aware of something that you should have known can be serious. This, of course, is also very true in journalism. The feeling that there is more to learn reminds us to dig in and read more, ask more and better questions, and most importantly, to listen to what people tell you. Only by really leaning in, reading, listening, questioning, can you begin to get to the point where you really understand the subject and can effectively communicate what you know to an audience. I've learned this over many years as a government official who has been called upon over 6 presidential administrations to communicate complex information and concepts to a wide range of audiences. This has been especially true with emergent infectious diseases. During my career at the National Institutes of Health, my colleagues and I have encountered many infectious outbreaks and epidemics, going back to the very early days of AIDS in 1981, through the anthrax attacks, SARS, pandemic flu, Ebola, Zika, and now COVID-19. The current pandemic of COVID-19 poses the biggest threat to global health in more than 100 years. The US pandemic recently has reached perilous heights, with the numbers of cases and hospitalizations tragically eclipsing all earlier records. My experience with COVID-19 has reinforced some key lessons about communications that I have learned over many outbreaks in the previous 4 decades. For me, these apply to all audiences, whether I'm speaking to the president or vice president, a senator or a congressman, a reporter or producer, scientific audiences, or the general public. or for that matter, writing an article, a commentary, or even a research paper. First among these is fidelity to the truth. In the realm of science and public health, most all truths are revealed by science-based evidence and data. People need to hear the truth as it is, rather than as they might want it to be. Over time, truth-telling builds credibility. So we must always tell the truth, even if it means I just do not know. Consistency in truth-telling is critical because consistency maintains integrity. Second, transparency is key. From past disease outbreaks, we know that we earn public trust when we are open and honest and do not withhold information. We must make sure that everyone understands where we are going, what our goals are, and how we propose to achieve them. We must keep our eyes on our objectives, provide regular public updates, and lead by example. When we falter in transparency, some people understandably either stop believing what we say or just stop listening altogether. Third, in the realms of public health and journalism and related fields, or for that matter, most any other profession, we must communicate clearly to achieve understanding. Now, I am the product of 8 years of Jesuit education, and throughout my career, the Jesuit tenet of precision of thought and economy of expression has informed how I think, how I write, how I communicate with the public. We must use language that everyone can understand. And it is crucial today that we extend our skills and efforts to a broad spectrum of audiences via a variety of outlets, be it traditional media and social media, among others, through which people get their information. Now, putting all these principles into practice is essential to building public trust in science as the pathway to resolving the COVID-19 pandemic and ensuring that the fruits of our research, such as vaccines, have the greatest potential benefit. In this regard, we can be heartened by the rapid pace of scientific progress, including extremely encouraging data showing a high degree of efficacy for candidate COVID-19 vaccines in large-scale clinical trials. Never has a vaccine been developed in so short a time. Of course, a vaccine will not be, and certainly is not, a magic solution by itself. For some time, we still will need to adhere to simple public health measures, such as universal masking, physical distancing, and avoiding crowds, that we know these things work to stem virus spread. Getting the messages out about the value of proven low-tech COVID-19 prevention tools in clear, credible, and coherent ways will continue to be a communications challenge. Once COVID-19 vaccines are approved to deploy, which could be actually as early as the end of this year, there will be powerful tools for us now to help us protect the vulnerable and gradually help quell and eventually end the COVID-19 pandemic for everyone, and thus heal and restore our upended lives. Once again, we have formidable communication challenges ahead of us as we work to convey with honesty, transparency, and clarity the benefits of vaccination to sometimes very skeptical audiences. I imagine some of the JMC school students watching today will contribute important articles, radio and TV segments, and other communications products to these important issues. Some of you have already have, I'm sure. So let me say again, how grateful I am to be so honored by San Jose State with the William Randolph Hearst Award. Please stay safe, keep well, and continue your important and outstanding work.
Thank you very much, Doctor. We appreciate that very much. If I may, I would like to tell everyone in just a moment, we're going to give you a proper welcome from our university president. But before I do that, I just want to ask you one follow-up question. As you know, the governor has already said that he's going to have to put the brakes on reopening the state. And we're looking at the concept of curfews. Is that something that you endorse? Is that something that you think should be done now?
You know, what I have learned, Professor Rucker, is that there are differences depending upon where you are and what the state of the outbreak is in your particular region, your state, your city, or what have you. It is certainly true that in other countries, curfews, for example, for people in general, curfews for bars closing at certain times, for restaurants closing at certain times, has actually helped. When you look at what happens as you get late into the evening, people let down their guard, people maybe drink a little bit too much, people get in congregate settings. You don't like to be very prescriptive, but sometimes when you're dealing with the seriousness of the situation right now, I leave it up to the good judgment of the leaders of your states and your cities to make that. But if they make that decision, I certainly think the basis upon which if it's sound, I would back that.
Very good. We'll have more Q&A with our distinguished guest in just a little bit. But right now it is time to bring in the president of this university. So we'll ask right now if Dr. Mary Papazian would say a few words.
Well, thank you, Bob. And Dr. Fauci, that was an incredibly diplomatic, though direct answer. So kudos to you. There's a reason we're honoring you here today. But let me just send you a big Spartan welcome to you across the miles and to all who have joined us on YouTube and on this Zoom presentation today. I'm so glad that you are all here to help us present this special award and celebrate an extraordinary guest of honor. Bob, I want to congratulate you and the faculty for selecting Dr. Fauci for this award. It was a bold and entirely appropriate selection. And I know that we all very much appreciated hearing from him just now and learning more about his life's work and experiences in the media during the pandemic. I know many of us have watched him many times over these last months. It is truly a coup for us to have someone of Dr. Fauci's stature here with us today. Some around the country might be surprised to learn that he's receiving an award from a prominent journalism school. But this program also has a global reputation for excellence in public relations and advertising in higher education. So it really does make sense when you stop and think about the unique and important role Dr. Fauci has played these past months, communicating such vital information to the American public. The fact that he has done so in the face of great stress, uncertainty, and pressure demonstrates a level of integrity and honesty that many of our public and political figures would be wise to emulate, and I know that our students have learned much from. As we all look forward to next week's Thanksgiving holiday, I think I can speak for millions of people around the country when I say we are all thankful to have had you with us throughout this global pandemic, helping us to understand this virus and explaining how we can best deal with it in a way that keeps us and our most loved ones safe. And I just urge all who are listening to heed Dr. Fauci's advice. Dr. Fauci, we know your time today is precious, and so we're honored that you're spending part of it with us, the most transformative university in the nation. Yes, you heard right, and you probably noticed this in the video clip earlier. Money Magazine gave us that distinction earlier this year, and I'm not shy about pointing it out. It is actually due to programs like our School of Journalism and Mass Communications that has helped us to earn this distinction. The school was founded way back in 1936 and remains the largest of its kind in Northern California. We are proud of its distinction as one of the top nationally accredited programs in the United States. Graduates of the school have been recognized around the globe for their innovative critical thinking, creativity, ethical and professional standards of performance, 21st century media skills, and leadership abilities. And the goal of the William Hearst Endowment for Visiting Professionals is to recognize for our students and those all across the nation, distinguished individuals like CNN's chief White House correspondent Jim Acosta in 2018, and documentarians Alex Shabano and his partner Dan Rather in 2019. They, along with many incredible past Hearst recipients, inspire generations of college students with their drive, determination, and professionalism based on ethical and responsible public service on all global media platforms. We are so delighted to have you with us today, Dr. Fauci, and I know everyone so much enjoyed hearing from you and looks forward to further Q&A. I'm happy now to turn things back over to Bob. Thank you again, and welcome everyone, and a special welcome to Dr. Fauci to San Jose State. And just remember, a virtual presence is close, but it's not all the way. So please know that you have an open invitation to come visit us when you're out west, when we can all travel again. So Bob, I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you indeed, Madam President. And we will echo that sentiment a little bit later. And Doctor, please do me the honor of just calling me Bob. I like it when my students do it, and I would appreciate it if you would do the same.
Thank you. How about you call me Tony?
You got it. Okay. And listen, I've been told to make you smile, we should talk about baseball, but we got to get back to the ceremony.
Okay.
Okay? Earlier, we saw in our video the Chief Operating Officer of our city. He has some additional remarks and a special proclamation for Dr. Fauci. So here again is the Mayor of San Jose, California, our friend, the Honorable Sam Liccardo.
Dr. Fauci, I serve on the San Jose City Council with 10 of my colleagues, and I can tell you rarely do we agree on much of anything. But for this commendation, all 11 of us unanimously agreed to commend you, to thank you for your extraordinary service and leadership for our country. Thank you on behalf of the more than 1 million residents of the city of San Jose.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the City Council for that historic recognition. You know, Dr. Fauci, we want to acknowledge and thank a mutual friend of ours and his company locally, Mr. Cameron Burks, Vice President of the Global Security of Adobe. He was part of the planning and creative efforts for this virtual ceremony. And his wonderful staff and the people of Adobe have been our partners for many years, and we hope to be doing more exciting things with them in the future. So please let me thank not only him, but also Jeff Jacobs, Tony Van Winkle, and of course, superstar editor Paul Wright for that wonderful opening they call a sizzle. We'll have to do more of those. Did that make you sizzle, Doctor?
Indeed.
I like that. I think we'll try that again sometime. We should also let you know the Zoom webinar event is being streamed now live on YouTube and on our San Jose State University website, so that the nation and the world can witness what you have to say. In a little bit, we'll have a few more questions and interaction with our campus community and the doctor, but we know that many businesses and community leaders here and across the country would also like to express their individual thoughts about Dr. Fauci's